Hi, I'm Jimmy. In this video, we're looking at Intuit, ticker symbol INTU. So in this video, we're going to look quickly at Intuit's business, look through some of their numbers, and try to get a fair value for Intuit stock to see if it's worth investing in today. One of the reasons that this is interesting is just the other day, as of the recording of this video, they came out with earnings and their stock got killed from it. This is a chart of their stock over the past year, and as you can see, it's down a huge amount. So is this an actual opportunity, or are we better off staying away from this one? First, let's jump in and look at the business. Now, over on the Investors Grow website, when we jump over and look at the segments, well, we can see that they have 4 primary segments that they break out. But really, there's 5 products, if you want to call it that this company focuses on. They have TurboTax, they have QuickBooks, they have Credit Karma, MailChimp, and Intuit Enterprise Studios. Now, QuickBooks, Intuit Enterprise Studios, and MailChimp are really their commercial business products. So they focus on small to medium-sized businesses. And then they have like a retail market for things like TurboTax or Credit Karma. Well, they kind of break them up in a unique way. I was expecting them just to do 2 primary segments, but those are their main products. Basically, they're a financial platform. And if you're, let's say, a small or medium-sized business, you might be using QuickBooks, and QuickBooks ties to TurboTax, and it also ties to the Intuit Enterprise Suite. They have a fairly wide breadth of products, and they do a fairly good job of mixing them all in. Now they are integrating, as every company is they are integrating AI into what they're doing, and they're trying to. Let's say they just laid off like 17% of their workforce, and they're trying to, instead of just do record keeping, they're trying to have AI take actions on some of the things that they're trying to push forward. So, for example, instead of QuickBooks now just turning around and recording different transactions, well, now QuickBooks might also use AI and speak with TurboTax and maybe automatically file the taxes and maybe automatically recommend loans that they have been doing loans recently. They might offer loans to some customers, things like that. Think of this entire business as a suite of financial products for 2 groups: companies, or small to medium-sized companies, and individuals. Now, before we jump over and look at some of their numbers, I think it makes sense to pause and look at their most recent quarter. So over on the summary page, first, you might notice down here we got 3 different stars, and 3 is the best that we have. And right now they actually have fairly strong financials. They got a decent balance sheet. They've been growing revenue. We'll look at some of their other numbers. But you might not notice this top box up here. This shows us real quickly how earnings came out. It shows us what estimates were for earnings per share. We can see that they beat expectations, and then they gave us what the actual number was. But what was interesting about that is, as we saw before, the stock reacted by being down about 20%. And one of the reasons that the stock was down so much is that even though they beat estimates, and they actually had decent numbers, well, they came out with guidance, and it wasn't the greatest guidance, but they also spent a bit of time talking about their TurboTax products. So TurboTax is generally targeted towards, the retail audience. Individuals, many individuals use it. Some companies, but a lot of individuals use it as well. Well, what they defined as individuals making less than $50,000 a year largely stayed away from using TurboTax. Now, this is outside of what they estimated. It's outside of what they guided to. It's also outside of what analysts thought were going to happen. And one of the reasons that they said that they priced too high. Now, one of the reasons that this happened is over the past couple of years, they've actually increased their prices somewhat. They've been able to increase their average revenue per user. Now, one of the advantages of having the breadth of products that they have, the fact that they have a whole bunch of different products, well, if you sign up and if you use TurboTax to do your taxes, well, maybe you'll also sign up for Credit Karma. They make it fairly simple to overlap, and they get to, the cost of acquiring a new customer is it's a fairly substantial cost for a company like this, but the cost of upselling that customer is significantly lower, so they can increase their average revenue per user. We can see that when we jump over and look at their net income profit margins, we'll look at all the numbers in a second. But for now, just look at net income profit margins, because I think that this speaks to why the company got smacked around so much the other day. And that is that over the past couple of years, they have been able to increase their profit margins as they've been upping their prices. Well, then just the other day, they report earnings, and it turns out that they lost a whole bunch of customers that didn't want the prices increased. Now, management insisted that that was a pricing mistake, and basically they have to lower their prices for customers, maybe income-based. So maybe if you make less than $50,000 a year, maybe it's free to use TurboTax, or maybe it's a very minimal fee, and then they can try to upsell you on something like Credit Karma. Well, one initial concern about that is that's going to hurt profit margins. Obviously, if they start dropping their prices, that will hurt profit margins. I think Wall Street and most investors' real concern becomes, well, how much is AI going to impact what something like Intuit is bringing to the table? You can already go on the IRS's website, and they have a filing system. You can already do taxes on your own at no cost. And if AI could simplify that for you, well, you might not need a company like TurboTax. So I think that is automatically going to put downward pressure on these types of margins. So for me, we'll jump in and look at the numbers, but for me, I'm halfway working under the assumption these numbers are going to pull back meaningfully. This is a 10-year chart. So this is, I'm trying to keep a long-term perspective on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if net income profit margins drop 10% from here. I mean, this is nearly 30%. That's a high number. I think a lot of software as a service companies are going to get their profit margins squeezed. And I think the market is reacting to that. We'll look at the fair value and see if they overreacted in a moment. But for now, let's jump over and look at revenue. So when we jump in and look at revenue, well, revenue is actually doing impressively well. I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed with how well, despite the fact that AI has rolled out, granted, AI keeps, they keep upgrading and keeps getting better and faster and smarter and all that stuff, and more expensive, but that's neither here nor there. But point is that revenue is held up fairly good. And interestingly, when we jump in and look at net income, well, net income has held up fairly well as well. Too many wells. But one of the things we saw, we could see it looks like net income is speeding up a bit. In fact, if we add the growth rates to this, we could see net income has ramped up a decent amount, and it picked up pace partially because net income profit margins were getting better. Let's assume that they're going to get worse. Let's assume management is correct that the prices are going to get squeezed because there's going to be more competition because of the introduction of AI. They wouldn't really say it was AI, but let's call a spade. Because of the introduction of AI, and AI makes software simpler, generally, well, it's going to be easier for people to do it without TurboTax. TurboTax is going to have to be an amazing deal. It's going to have to be super simple and super easy value. Now, the good news for a company like Intuit is that if you use something like TurboTax, well, they save last year's returns. A lot of times you can just take a picture and it'll do a lot of the stuff unless your taxes get real complicated. It's fairly simple on TurboTax, so they tend to have some repeat. They tend to keep their customers are fairly sticky. So I think that's a good thing. And it's clearly rolling through to the numbers on both a revenue growth rate and a profit from revenue growth and a profit perspective, despite the fact that I do think the growth rate of net income is likely to slow because of what competition is going to do. Part of that competition, a big part of that competition is AI. Okay, now let's take a crude look at their balance sheet. So first, we'll look at cash. We can see cash, they got a decent amount. Cash has actually ramped up over the past few years. We're looking less at the trend and more at the levels. In fact, I think it makes more sense. Let's add short and long-term debt to this. So this is not total liabilities. It's just short and long-term debt compared to cash equivalents, long-term investments, things like that. And we can see here that they got a fairly strong balance sheet. They do have debt, but they have enough cash. They have enough cash to cover it now. But even if they didn't, I would qualify this as a fairly strong balance sheet. So that's got to be a point in their column. Okay, now let's jump over and look at free cash flow. And This is a chart of free cash flow. This is from our discounted cash flow calculator. So there's two lines on this. The dark blue are historical numbers, and you can see the trend is it was climbing up. That's great. The light green lines, the bars to the right, are analyst estimates. So I'm using 4 years of analyst estimates, and we can see that analysts are expecting for free cash flow to continue to climb higher. And looking at this overall trend, that seems possible, right? I think that there's this overreaction to what AI is bringing to the table and how much it's going to hurt companies like this. Not necessarily from a stock perspective. Clearly, from a stock perspective, AI is killing these guys. This stock's down 50% over the past year. So, okay, fine, yeah, AI is clearly hurting their stock. But if analysts are correct, and if the companies are correct, these are companies, don't forget, that are also implementing their own versions of AI and trying to utilize AI to make their own products better. And I, on a personal basis, actually believe that a company like Intuit is likely to do fairly well as AI is implemented into everything. And it has, I think that it's a lot of its customers it's simpler to just keep using QuickBooks and things like that instead of having AI build out their own version of it. Assuming that it's priced well, which again, I think is more likely to put pressure on margins, but I'm not necessarily sure that AI is going to stop these companies from existing. So when I look at this chart, that does seem possible. Now, we have it ramping up, and then the assumption after that is that it grows at the perpetual growth rate. I picked 2.5% after these 4 years, so it's a fairly conservative number. And when we look at the fair value side of it, well, on our gauge chart here, we can see we get a fair value of about $500 per share. But, and this is where it gets tricky, $500 per share, first of all, meaningful upside. From where the stock is right now, as of the shooting of this video, there's a meaningful upside between here and the fair value. But is that a reasonable fair value? So one of the big things to consider with companies like this is stock-based compensation. A lot of these companies pay a lot of their employees a lot of stock-based compensation. And the argument is that because stock-based compensation gets ignored in free cash flow, in fact, it gets, you take net income and you add back stock-based compensation to get to free cash flow, to get to operating cash flow and free cash flow and all of that. Because you're doing that, it's not a fair representation of the actual cost of doing business. So there's reason to believe that you should remove stock-based compensation. And if we remove stock-based compensation going out the next few years, well, suddenly the fair value shifts quickly. Now, if you're curious how we came up with these estimates, basically we take the average of stock-based compensation compared to revenue over the past 5 years, we project it out using the same formula going out the next few years. We just assume the rate of stock-based compensation will be about the same going out the next few years. Well, suddenly this stock looks much closer to fair value right now after the 20% pullback. So the real question is Intuit a good investment today? Well, for me, on a personal basis, I like the company. I do think that they're one of the, there's a company in Australia called Xero. It's a good competitor to what Intuit does, but it's a highly fragmented industry. Intuit competes in a lot of different lines of business that have a lot of competitors individually, but Intuit is one of the more comprehensive ones outside of Xero, which is another good competitor, but they're less in the United States than Intuit is. Intuit's primarily focused in the United States. So for me, I like Intuit, and I plan on adding Intuit to my bullpen of stocks to watch. But when we consider that the impact of stock-based compensation, if that is a cleaner representation of the fair value, maybe the market didn't overcorrect as much as I thought that they should have. When I'm looking at the fair value, it should probably pull back a bit further. So I do think that Intuit would have a good place in my personal portfolio. I just want to watch it for a bit. I'm going to add it to the bullpen and see where it goes. If the stock pulls back a bit more, then I might jump in and add it then. But I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on this company. Do you own it? Why do you like it? Why do you dislike it? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want to sign up to get access to the Investors Grow website, where we try to make it quick and easy to analyze companies, you click a button, get what the adjusted stock-based compensation fair value is, things like that. Try to make it quick and easy. Well, there's a link over here to sign up to that. Link in the description below. And thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.